Good morning, everybody. It's Thursday, May 29th, and this is the AgYield War Room. I'm Dan Dempsey, and I'll be moderating today's session. As always, if you get any questions or comments, please feel free to drop us a line in the chat area, and we'll be sure to get to it during the show. Overnight markets here, July corn down 4 1/4 at 446 3/4. July soybeans were also down 4 1/4 at 1044 1/4, and July Chicago wheat was up a penny at 531 1/4. This morning we had a couple of export sales announcements. 104,000 metric tons of corn sold to Mexico. That was for old crop 24. Also announced 101,096 metric tons of corn to unknown destinations, also for 24. Weekly export sales are pushed back a day. Those will be out tomorrow morning due to Monday's late Memorial Day holiday. So I guess we'll jump right in. Good morning, guys. What we know this morning, yesterday late, it was had a I guess a local court rule that the Trump tariffs, some of the first tariffs that he had enacted were deemed to be illegal. The White House has since filed appeal, so we'll see where this goes. Most scholars are talking about this making its way to the Supreme Court for final ruling. So I'm sure we'll certainly add that to the list of headlines that we're looking at. Got sort of conflicting weather models right now on the 10 to 14 day. As you look near term, much agreement on really non-threatening weather for a majority of the Corn Belt there. So I guess with that, Dustin, why don't kick us off here this morning, share a few of your thoughts, and then we'll throw it around the room.
Yeah, thanks, Dan. Yeah, last night, equities obviously found some really good support on the news that this tariff was blocked by the court. Since then we've seen some setbacks. We had a gap higher open for beans, and I think the market needs some time to digest what this really means. Because if it goes right through the Supreme Court and they uphold, Trump's choice of tariffs, are we in any different of a spot, right? This could be a temporary setback for a couple of weeks. And I think that's the bean market saying. The stock market's kind of coming off of its excessive highs as well. So I think it goes back to what we've been trading. I think for me, I personally am really kind of watching which way the real goes. Flat price has been highly impacted from that, and we're within range, less than 1.5% from calendar year high in that currency. You combo that with the fact that we're still in this 90-day period with China, assuming that these tariffs are held up to be constitutional. What comes out of that 90-day period, we have a tale of a binary outcomes, right? If China digs their heels in and we go back to a 2018 type trade war, our exports will probably leave a sizable balance sheet for beans and corn. And if they do some sort of phase one trade deal adherence, we really don't have the room for all of these additional exports that we would otherwise expect to receive if we go back to committing to $50 billion a year of ag products. So I wish I had more answers. It's kind of like a wait and see situation right now. I do think we're going to be still in this seasonal pattern where the real summer weakness would come more like July and August rather than between now and June. It's just my personal opinion.
Sure, Jace, we were talking before the show. I mean, it's just maddening that we've just been trading these levels. You break into a little bit of demand. It was interesting to see that, we've been talking about BS rumors in our markets for, it feels like, the last 3 weeks, 4 weeks. And yesterday, you chatter about old crop cancellations, and here we sell a couple 100,000 this morning for old crop corn. So you never know what to believe. But yeah, talk about, just it's like we're just chopping a whole bunch of people up in a pretty tight range when you really break down the makeup of the market.
Yeah, I kind of mentioned it, roll what I said yesterday, right? It's like it's a repeat, right? There's not a lot of threatening weather. We're kind of stuck in this sideways to lower trade. If the weather pattern continues and we don't have any friendly news out of trade deals, and I think this is what we're going to be trading for the next 4 to 6 weeks. And then we're going to really hyper focus on weather. on what the, during pollination and grain fill and all the really important aspects of this crop. But right now, funds seem to want to lean towards the short side. I don't blame them in corn, because they're probably thinking the same thing. What's going to threaten me with a shorter crop right now? Weather looks pretty good. We've gotten it planted pretty well. The Ohio forecast right now, I think they did take some rain out. We're talking about that. There was the GFS potentially had kind of a bigger system, and looks like they've pulled back a little bit. So these models kind of show them drying out enough probably to get it planted. So yeah, you break down these levels, you run into business, which is good. I mean, if you look at a chart, technically corn just struggles at every moving average. So it looks like a bearish market. It runs into the moving averages and fails. July corn, just failed the 200-day and broke for 2 days straight. Beans, on the other hand, I think is testing. I mean, we're going to test the 200-day on the high end, which is good. I mean, so technically beans are acting a little better, but it's kind of, like I said, really just hanging around some of these moving averages where you wouldn't be overly confident, technically anyway. And that's just because of everything we're talking about, right? The weather isn't too threatening. So, yeah, frustrating, boring, frustrating, wish we had something to trade. And from a farmer perspective, right, it's like, and we talked about this, right? You have these quote safety nets, and we're at these levels where you've got some crop insurance protection, or you got some farm bill protection, and you can feel okay about your crop, or yeah, it's off to a good start, but not confident. I mean, it's not like you can say, hey, I got a bunch of corn bushels and 440 works somewhat. It doesn't. I mean, 440 barely works at a record yield. So, yeah, it's just not easy right now.
Sure. Yeah. Let's hope that we get some semblance of an outlook here, because if you think about it too, these deals have kind of gone a little quiet as well.
Everything, doesn't it? It feel like just everything's kind of slow. There's a lot of, all these deals are.
Yeah, he threatened Europe, and then he pulls back till July 9th, and then, it's like we're just.
Did you hear the whole taco thing? This is the Wall Street calling it the taco trade. Trump always chickens out. Did you see that?
Yeah, that's what you need to do is poke the bear.
Then they asked him, and he got all pissed. Yeah, and he was.
I bet. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Now it's back on.
Yeah. All right, I'll put it back on.
Yeah, that's not a guy I would challenge in any capacity. One true social away. No, very good, guys. Ryan, let's talk a little livestock here. Spot cutout makes fresh highs in the cattle, but it's interesting to see with slaughter kind of dropping off, based on Memorial Day and whatnot. Maybe the packer kind of gets a little bit of margin back, which would be interesting to see. And then looking at hogs, continue to rally on the back end of that Tuesday sharply higher cutout as well. So what are your thoughts this morning?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the Packers are going to try to get some advantage now with prices up here. So, I mean, like reduced kills are just kind of one of the tools they have in the toolbox right now. So I think the expectation is for these light slaughters to continue. So it's making the market a little bit nervous. Obviously, we didn't get any fake rumors yesterday. And I think just going into the trade yesterday, the perception was that, okay, well, we're just going to bounce right back. And it didn't. So that's not a very good sign, I think, coming in here, especially with beef making new record highs as these slaughters stay reduced. And we really haven't seen too much as far as cash goes. Sound like there's some 220 bids in the South yesterday, maybe even a little bit of trade, but nothing confirmed yet. So it just, even with what's going on right now as far as production, it still seems like, the prices are tight. The producers are still kind of holding the balls in their court for the most part. But we'll see. There's a lot riding on this week's slaughter. I think at this point, the market's expecting just kind of steady, which is kind of a change of pace. So we'll see if that actually transpires. On the hog side of things, I think just kind of same thing. We had really good price action, some follow through, but on the other hand, carcass was a bit lower. So I think that maybe we're starting to see some of that post Memorial demand start to back off a little. Overall, I think seasonally, the expectation is that carcass is going to hold up, but we probably are going to see these swings here. I mean, we got prices marching back up to contract highs. Obviously, we're going to run into some producer hedging with the premium established on the board here. So, back end of the market is still making new highs for the move here as well. So there's still quite a bit of optimism, and especially after the tariff situation, the tariffs getting blocked by the courts. Obviously, that's going to be appealed to some degree, but I think maybe we could see a little bit more support just off of that headline alone. So overall, just kind of it still seems like on the producer side to sell these rallies or lock in some margin in the deferred contracts, just because it seems like we've got this really aggressively long managed money position right now. And if there's any kind of shakeup of that, bad headline, bad trade news, still seems like it could come down pretty hard, pretty fast, as we just saw in the cattle market. So just kind of watching for that right now. But overall, at least the meat was trending in the right way. There's a little bit of weakness. So hard to say what we're going to trade today. I'd expect kind of a mixed open.
All right. Appreciate the update there. Couple things to point out. Again, weekly export sales will be out tomorrow morning, 7:30 Central. Push back a day because of Memorial Day holiday. So we'll take a look there. We'll have those results in tomorrow morning's War Room. Also, tomorrow is a Fun Fact Friday. Brian will be back. Never know what we're going to get there, so please be sure to tune in. We appreciate everybody that tunes in on a daily basis, supports the show. If you wouldn't mind, throw us a like and certainly subscribe. Doesn't cost you anything to do so, and it'll keep you up to speed on everything that's going on with the AgYield. So again, thanks to everybody that supports the show. We're doing this live every day that the markets are open on X, Facebook Live, and YouTube Live, 8:15 Central Time. Appreciate the thoughts and comments here this morning, guys. It was a good show. Hope everybody has a great day, and we look forward to talking again tomorrow.
The War Room is proudly presented by AgYield. For over 50 years, the AgYield team has provided grain marketing and risk management solutions for growers across the country. Our veteran consultants harness cutting-edge technologies to pinpoint risk, optimize market performance, and protect your farm's profitability. Discover a new approach to farm revenue management at agyield.com.
Hey guys, Jack here. Be sure to support the show by hitting the like button, leaving us a comment, and subscribing to the channel for all the latest updates. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.